To get Romans what?
You give me Romans 11:23. You give me Matthew 24:13. The actual reason why he got kicked out of the garden. Any takers? You ready to hear, man? What you about to say? Nah?
Because inside of the Garden of Eastwood, of Eden, he had access to the tree of life.
Right. Because there was two. Remember, there's two trees that we're dealing with, right? You got the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? And so, in the garden, he already ate of the knowledge of good and evil, right? But there was still the tree of life right there that he could eat of as well, right? Keep going.
Yeah, and so that he would have access to the tree of life because of what he transgressed against God. God expelled him and her out of the garden, and he placed cherubims there to guard him, so that he couldn't get back in.
Right. And so in the big scheme of things, right, what happened? He kicked Adam out the garden so he wouldn't eat of that tree of life also and gain eternal life and have evil at the same time, right? What is the significance of this? He got kicked out of the garden because now he has to what? I think that's in Matthew 24:13. Bring that out.
So this is the book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13.
This is why.
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Because now Adam has to endure unto the end. It's nothing's easy no more. It's not sweet no more. You got kicked out of the garden. Now you got to endure to the end, right? Right? And as us as a people, just like Adam was kicked out and he has to endure to the end, we messed up as a nation after we came out of Egypt. We got them branches broken off, so we got to endure to the end. And luckily, when we do endure to the end, right, this is going to happen. Bring that out in Romans 11:23.
Romans 11:23. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For God is able to graft them in again.
Graft them in again, right? So how can you be grafted back into something that you was never a part of, right? He's talking about grafting his people back in again. Same thing for Adam, right? He has to endure to the end. Same thing, man. So the lesson today, right, we're going to be focusing on, I know it's a Passover, but we're going to teach a little bit. It's still going to flow with the Passover, but it's going to be a little different topic, right? It's going to be on a remnant, right? And so can somebody give me Jeremiah 23:7? Yeah, you getting it?
Yeah.
And you can go ahead and give me the classic in Zechariah 13:8.
There's a book of Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse number 7.
Right.
Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
Right. And so I want to make, before we start, right, just to touch on that, right? So it's crazy, man, because as much as the Lord has boasted about his miracle that he's done for us about bringing us through the land of Egypt, right? In every single book, almost through the Bible, right? They said that there's going to be a time where that's not even going to be a thing of the past no more, right? Because the main focus is going to be on what's about to come for this remnant. Because Egypt was great. Egypt was great. He led us through the Red Sea and whatnot. It was wonders, right? And he saved everybody, even the wicked Israelites. But if you think about it, he kind of got to make this one even more miraculous because it's only dealing with those that believe, truly believe, right? You know what I'm saying? It says that, read that from the top again.
Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
It's not going to be said no more about the Passover, about when we came through the Red Sea, right? What's it going to be saying?
But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all countries whither I had driven them,
right.
And they shall dwell in their own land.
Right. So this next thing that's about to happen, right? That's why we're keeping the Passover as a memorial about what he did in the past, but we're looking forward to what's about to come. All the craziness in the world that's happening right now, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons why we got to purge out that leaven, right? Because we want to be found in that end where we can say, hey, look, we used to celebrate the Passover. Now we celebrate this. I don't know what he's going to call it. You know what I'm saying? But now we celebrate this. You know what I'm saying? This was way better than the Passover. That's why we stay in these law, statutes, and commandments as much as we do, right? Can you bring out the classic real quick, Zechariah 13:8?
This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 13, and verse number 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, said the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein.
Right. So 2 parts of us are going to be cut off and die, man. You know what I'm saying? 2 parts didn't get cut off and die in Egypt. He saved all of us. Right. And really think about it, 2 parts is a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? If you got 3 slices of pie and you take 2, right? That last one, it's you know what I'm saying? It's a remnant. It's going to be small. And the Bible explains, you know, how small this remnant is going to be, what it's going to be like. Can you give me Amos 5 and 3? And you give me Amos 3 and 12, right? The Bible is so descriptive. I came across this the other day, and I was like, dang, man, that really puts things in perspective. You know, we had a conversation not the other day just about the 144K, and I know people got different views on the 144K, who they are, stuff of that nature, man. But I was like, dang, man, would it be funny, like, if 144K was a part of the 2/3? You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they are or they're not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying hypothetically. You know what I'm saying? Because that means if the 144K is a part of the 1/3, my bad, Salakia, part of the 1/3, they're part of that remnant. It's like, dang, that's 144,000 spots already took in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, where we gonna get in? You know what I'm saying? That makes you kind of like hone in on like, hey, we really got to get this together. Not saying that they are a part of, not saying that they are a part of the elect or whatnot, or in that number. They could be a different entity, if you get what I'm saying. But that was just a hypothetical to think like, dang, man, it's only gonna be a small number of us, right? You got Amos 5 and 3.
Come.
Bring that out real quick.
The book of Amos, chapter 5 and verse 3. For thus saith the Lord God, the city that went out by 1,000 shall leave.
Actually, stop. Let me see that one. I'm gonna do this one first.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 3, and verse number 12. And it says, thus saith the Lord, as the shepherd taketh out of the mouth of the lion 2 legs, or a piece of an ear, so shall the children of Israel be taken out that dwell in Samaria, in the corner of a bed, and in Damascus in a couch.
Right. So he said, just like a shepherd, right, would take out one of his, like if a lion came and destroyed his flock of sheep, right? Just like a shepherd would come and take out pieces of his lamb from the lion's mouth, right? Just a leg, it said, right? Or just an ear, right? That's how we're gonna be looking in those days, right? You know what I'm saying? Body destroyed. It's gonna look like, you know, as a nation, we're not even a nation. You know what I'm saying? From just the little bits and pieces of us, right? I love this scripture because it really paints a picture on how, you know what I'm saying, how small we're gonna look in that day, and how destroyed we're gonna look in a sense. But it's crazy because it's gonna be a remnant, and we're still gonna be powerful. But just to think like that many of our people are gonna be gone. You know what I'm saying? It's hard going out in the street and seeing our people every day. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot. They call us minorities, you know what I'm saying? But when you go out, man, there's really a lot of us, especially when you mention the blacks and Hispanics. And it's like, man, it's going to be hard to see us come out like just a piece of an ear, just a piece of a limb. You know what I'm saying? So bring that out real quick.
Amos chapter 5 and verse 3. For thus saith the Lord God, the city that went out by 1,000 shall leave 100, and that which went forth by 100 shall leave 10 to the house of Israel.
Right. So it says the city that goes out in 1,000, right? They're gonna be living. You're gonna see 100 of them, right? You know what I'm saying? This is just painting the picture of that remnant. Let's go to 1 Peter 4 and 18, right? And then somebody give me Matthew 5 and 20. You got
18. You said 4 and 18?
Yeah, 1 Peter 4 and 18.
This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 18. And if the righteous scarcely be saved.
The righteous scarcely be saved, right? When you think about what it means to be righteous, man, to as the book of Revelation says, to have the faith and keep the commandments, right? To be righteous. The righteous scarcely may be saved, right? Like barely make it. Keep reading.
Where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?
Right? A lot of these people that's out here just living how they want to live, you know what I'm saying? Where are they going to appear? If you're lukewarm, if you're tap dancing in this truth, right? Where are you going to appear? If the righteous in the truth is scarcely going to make it in. You know what I'm saying?
Salakia too. There was a video of that earthquake that happened, I think, Haiti or wherever that earthquake happened. It was like a 5.6 or 5.3.
Oh, and what's the country name? Start with E. Ecuador.
Ecuador. Yeah. It happened in Ecuador, and there was a video of these. I don't know. They might have been at some type of celebration, like a wedding or something.
On stage.
Yeah. Right. And they was dancing, and when that earthquake hit, boy, they just started shaking, started hugging each other. Because people, when something happens to the earth like that, you gotta think it's something supernatural, bruh. For the earth to shake like that, bruh. So imagine that day when the righteous are scarcely saved. The righteous, their heart's gonna fail them, and the people that's sinning, the sinners, their heart's gonna fail them. And that little tiny bit of screaming and shaking they was doing for an earthquake is gonna be 10 times worse.
Right.
So that's why, it's really important to try to be a part of that remnant.
Big con. Give me that in Matthew real quick.
This is the book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 20. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Real quick, give me Acts 17 and 11. Read that from the top one more time.
This is the book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 20 from the top. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
You got to think, man, a lot of people put a lot of pressure on the negativity of the Pharisees, man. But you got to give them credit when credit's due when it comes to them knowing this book, right? For them actually studying this book day in and day out. You know what I'm saying? And he's telling us our righteousness got to exceed theirs, right? Not only in the form of not being hypocrites, right? But we got to really show them what our passion is, right? If anybody has passion in here, you got time throughout the day to do whatever, right? How much time do you have set aside for this truth? You know what I'm saying? I did a video the other day, and I said, man, if you had a scale, right, with your surfetti, which is pretty much folly or your pastime, right? If you put that on a scale with how much time in a day you spend with the truth, which side would tip over? You know what I'm saying? And then you really got to think. Is my righteousness, am I taking this for a joke? You know what I'm saying? Like, because we put in the, like the truth is our pastime. You know what I'm saying? The truth is our surfetti in this world, right? You know what I'm saying? So we got to really hone in on that. You got that in Acts 17 and 11, because this is how we're supposed to be. Bring that out.
The book of Acts chapter 17 and verse 11. These were more noble than those in Thessalonica.
Right, these men.
And that they received the word with all readiness of mind.
Right, it said that they were noble. What did these noble men do? Keep reading.
And searched the scriptures daily.
They searched the scriptures day in and day out. Right, why?
Whether those things were so.
We got to search whether these things are so, right? We say we in this truth, right? But we got to search these scriptures daily. Just to convince ourselves, because sometimes we were talking about earlier before. It's a mind. It's almost like that inner mind game. It's like sometimes we can convince ourselves that is this the truth?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I ain't gonna lie. You know how Peter said Paul's letters are sometimes hard to understand, right? I spent a good time reading the Old Testament. I finally get into the New Testament and read a little bit. I'm like, dang man, I can really see how people can get bent up. You know what I'm saying? In this New Testament. You know what I'm saying? So we got to study the scriptures daily to read it from the top again.
Acts 17 and 11. These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind.
These noble men.
Searched the scriptures daily, whether those things were so.
Right. So you got to search these scriptures daily just to make sure that you got a nice reassurance. You know what I'm saying? Can somebody give me Ecclesiastes 7 and 28? Trying to roll through these so we don't spend too much time. I know people are hungry, you know what I'm saying? But Matthew 4 and 4, Matthew 4 and 4.
Man, should I lose up that one?
Con.
You said 7 and 28?
Yeah, Ecclesiastes 7 and 28.
I got you right here. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 28.
Right.
Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not.
Okay, so stop right there real quick. This is another Another good remnant passage that paints a nice picture, man. It's a gut check, right? Not only the men, but it's a gut check to these women out here, man. Our beautiful sisters, right? Keep reading.
One man among 1,000 have I found.
He said, this is a vision, right? Now, it's probably not the exact numbers, you know what I'm saying? But in his vision, when he's talking about looking at salvation, he said one man that he found out of 1,000. One man out of 1,000, right? Keep reading.
But a woman among all those have I not found.
Oh, I didn't find not one woman. I didn't find not one woman. That's a gut check, right? You know what I'm saying? When you talk about the remnant, right? A lot of times we get in this truth, man, and I know for a fact we do have men and women that go hard, right? And a lot of times, just to piggyback on the scripture, not to attack our sisters, but we get in this truth, and sisters, especially when sisters start getting married, and you know what I'm saying, they kind of feel like, oh, they can kind of relinquish some of their, you know what I'm saying, their duties to the Most High. And a lot of times getting married can be a crutch. I think it was Paul that said once you get married, you should act like you're not married. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to this truth, right? No folly, but when it comes to this truth, you should act like you're not married. You know what I'm saying? Because your time you still should be able to put your brick in. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're a man or a woman, right? He said out of all the women, he didn't find not one, right? And why is that reason, right? Go up a little bit. Where did you say?
I started at 28. You want me to read?
Go up.
Start at verse 25.
Start at verse 26. This is the reason, the verse right above it.
Verse 26. And I find more bitter than death the woman.
The woman, right?
Whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands.
Right.
Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her.
And it's not a real attack, man, but you still gotta see it for what it is, right? The man's not playing when he said out of 1,000 men, I seen one. And out of all the women, I didn't see none make it, right? And then the verse right above it is talking about why? Because she's bitter. Why? How can our women be bitter today, right? Because you got to think, the Proverbs 31 woman is the standard. The Proverbs 31 woman is the standard. It's not, we say that you're more precious than rubies, right? Who can find one? But everybody should still be working to be a Proverbs 31 woman if you're a woman. You know what I'm saying? That's the standard. And so when you're looking at this, right, you got to figure out, like, how can I put my brick in this truth, right? Well, if you go to Proverbs 31, you know what I'm saying, and it lays out what a woman should be doing. If you're not checking off those boxes, you kind of got to check yourself, right? And because you got to understand, when you live up to those expectations, when you live up to that standard, you're not doing it for your husband. You know what I'm saying? A lot of, and that's why it says in verse 26, because she's bitter, right? Because they have attitudes like, not saying none of you sisters do. I'm just saying, in general, they'll have attitudes like, well, he don't do nothing. He don't do nothing but sit on his butt all day. I ain't doing nothing for him, right? They're equating what they should be doing, if they should be a Proverbs 31 woman, on their husband, right? And that's really how they're supposed to put their brick into this truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, as men, we go on the highways and byways, we study. You know what I'm saying? But what the women can do, what can women do for the Lord, right? They can put this brick in by fulfilling their role as a woman. And you're not doing it for your husband, right? You're doing it as if you were married to Christ, right? You know what I'm saying? So you go home, your man comes home, regardless of how you look at your man, you're supposed to see Christ coming through the door. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to see Christ coming through the door, right? This is how you put your brick in. Because if you can't do it for your husband on this earth, right? The Most High doesn't need you. And that's why I say I didn't find not one man, not one woman. Because you got to think, the Most High probably looking down like, dang, you couldn't cook for your husband. You couldn't do X, Y, and Z for your husband. I know you wouldn't do it for me, because all I'm going to do in the kingdom is sit down on my butt all day. The Most High in Christ sitting on the throne all day, right? Nowadays, we have some women that will be like, well, you ain't good enough for me to do that, this, that, and the third for you. You know what I'm saying? But then vice versa, you got to think. That's an awesome way for you to put your brick in as a woman, to go hard, right? As to fulfill that standard as a Proverbs 31 woman. That's how you put your brick in. And then men, we got to do a better job of not enabling our women, right? So they can put that brick in. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, there's, of course you can show compassion. Of course you can help out and whatnot, right? But the truth of the matter is, right, the woman, the wife was considered to help me. You know what I'm saying? And the Proverbs 31 woman says that her candle never goes out by her bed, right? When you in your bed, you got a lamp, right? When you turn that lamp off, it's time to lay it down. It says that her lamp never goes out. You know what I'm saying? She's supposed to be built for this. And a lot of times as men, right, we succumb to this westernized mindset, you know what I'm saying, of catering to the woman just naturally because we've been in this so long, right? You know what I'm saying, that we kind of hinder our wives from getting into the kingdom because we start taking up some of their roles, but that's their way of putting their brick in for the kingdom. Because just like Isaiah said, or in the Ecclesiastes, just like Solomon said, right? The man with all the wisdom, just like he said, look, hey, I didn't see not one woman in there, right? So we got,
and I think too, you know, like you said, everything's just backwards. Bitter, sweet, sweet's bitter. And we kind of move away, our people in general, not saying in the truth, but also in the truth as well, we kind of move away from the fact that who's called the pillar of rest? Is it the woman or is it the man?
and it's a hard job to do.
Right.
It's a hard job to be a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But there's definitely ways to put your brick in. You know what I'm saying? You always got to keep that mindset of why you're doing it. You're not doing it for your husband. You're really not doing it for your kids. You're really doing it for Christ. You're really doing it for the Most High. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to show him that you belong in the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? You got that?
This is the book of Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. And it says, as for my people, children are their oppressors and women rule over them.
And women rule over them, man. You know what I'm saying? We got to kind of get away from that. Not saying that, you know what I'm saying, a woman wouldn't be able to lead, right? But you got so much stuff on your plate, right? The leadership role is not designated to you because you got so much to fulfill in yourself. To the point where if you take that leadership role, you're gonna be lacking in stuff that you need to put that brick in. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just harping on this because just like in Ecclesiastes where he said he found not one woman. And whenever I read that, I'm not even a woman, and that's a gut check to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how can our women get more involved in this thing? You know what I'm saying?
And just to add a precept and just a quick understanding point, I'm going to go to 1 Corinthians 11 and starting at verse number 3. And it says, but I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. So it's just part of us being making it in that remnant, and part of us, you know what I'm saying, being that chosen few, being that hopeful elect, is understanding that there's order and structure. You know what I'm saying? We got to start restructuring our households. You know, we got to start understanding that everybody has a role to play in getting to this glorious kingdom that we also desire.
That's a big
It's like, if as men, we got to do a better job of leading, doing what we can to lead, whether it be, you know what I'm saying, instructing our wives, whether it be, you know what I'm saying, just giving them understanding, asking questions to see if they need anything or want anything more in these scriptures that they probably can't find in their own. We have to do a better job of doing that. Especially, like I said, I always tell my wife that I definitely got to do a better job of showing her and trying to help her break down what it is that she needs to know and understand about this Bible. But that's the same thing, like it says in Second Edges, we got to set thine house in order. When it comes to becoming a remnant and when it comes to getting this kingdom, like the ox said, our women sometimes, I think Kevin Samuel said a mighty point, even though, Kevin Samuels, he be saying some real stuff though, no cap. But like I said, it was his sister, right? It was this Eve on the live with him. And she was like, you know what I'm saying? For some reason, I just can't get a masculine man. And he said, well, you can't get a masculine man because you the one that want to be masculine. You got to let the man be masculine. You be feminine. You was like, you got all these accolades to your name. How about you treat your man like you treat that job that you go to. Have that job that you so desire. Right. And I think we all gotta have that mindset.
Treat your man like you treat that so-called white man boss. That
exactly,
you got.
right. Like you said, if our women and like you said, it's not a personal attack on anyone.
No.
But it's an understanding that our women having the role of a woman, the duty of a wife, the duty of a mother, that's a mighty job and a mighty office to have.
And we need that. We were talking about Joshua and Caleb earlier today, right? They were the only ones that could make it into the promised land because they were the only ones to submit to whatever God had structured. You know what I'm saying? And to make it into this next kingdom, hey, you know how it says that man wasn't made for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath was made for man. In the same sense, the kingdom wasn't made for us, but no, I'll say how would I put this?
We weren't made for the kingdom, but the kingdom was made for us in a sense?
No, it's backwards.
So the kingdom wasn't made for us, but we were made for the kingdom.
But we were made for the kingdom. Exactly. And if we don't abide by the structure of the kingdom, we're not getting in. If you don't wanna do your role as a man, it's not for you. You're not gonna make it. If you don't want to do your role as a woman, right? Cool, that's fine. But you're not gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? You got something?
Just to speak on what you're saying, right? Like as we understand, like how our women have to be submissive, you know what I'm saying, and be basically help me to us, right? We gotta be submissive to the Lord, right? Because on a deeper level, right, when you go to the precepts, hey, we the husband of the wife, we know husband, we the wife of the Lord. Right? Because that's our husband. Right? But I got a precept.
Bring it up.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 2. It says, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Yahweh, out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Right? And we know Jerusalem, that is a people before it's a place. So we have to be submissive. We got to know how to be as men to be submissive to the Lord.
And that goes even back to, what are we doing? Are we out wearing our day with surfetti and folly? Or is our day, you know what I'm saying, mostly in this truth? You know what I'm saying? Mostly in this Bible, right? Just like we see some women lack at the Proverbs 31. We still gotta, before the Proverbs 31, right? It talks about King Lemuel, right? And we gotta abide by all of that too if we want to be kings. You know what I'm saying?
Lucky, man, I had a point too, just before you go on. Just to say, like, the point that brother just brought out, you know what I'm saying? If we're over women, you know what I'm saying, we definitely got to make sure that we submit to the Lord even more. Because it's just like, in a given sense, like, how could we expect to have a Proverbs 31 wife in its truth if we not even trying to, you know what I'm saying, put in the work to be like a Proverbs 31 type of man to the Most High himself? You know what I'm saying? How would the Most High feel if we not taking care of his sheep? How would the Most High feel if we not cooking and cleaning for him? There's stuff that we have to do as men, as well as women have to do that for our husbands. We as men have to do that for our wives. It has to go hand in hand. But we definitely cannot forsake any role in this kingdom. We got to know order and structure, and we got to know that, hey, look, women, don't despise your role. Whether you be a wife, whether you be courting, whether you be a mother, whether you be anything, if you're dealing with a man in the truth, make sure that that man is submitting to the Lord. So that way, if you're submitting and fulfilling your role as a Proverbs 31 woman, you can leave no room for spoil.
We got to hold each other accountable. Like I said, just like men, we can't enable our wives. Wives can't enable your husbands either, right? If you see your husband lacking and he's not in his word as much as he used to, right? You know what I'm saying? Don't enable him. You know what I'm saying? You got
a precept real quick.
Bring that out real quick.
Matthew 7, verse 13 and 14. Enter ye the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be on to go thereat. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few will find it thereof.
Few will find it, man, right? Broad is the way to destruction, narrow is that gate. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, bring that out real quick.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times.
Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. I like it. It goes hand in hand because it's like few will find it. How are you going to find it though, right? If you're not in this book, right? Because this wisdom and knowledge is going to be the stability of thy times, right? A lot of us go off because we don't have enough this in our life, right? And we don't have enough this in our life. What else? What's contrary to this? The world, right? And so we start seeing the world or life through the lens of this westernized civilization, right? Instead of seeing the lens through this Bible, right? That's why we start succumbing to things that aren't fluent with the principles of this Bible. That's how we get into things that as a man, right, we start operating our household not according to this Bible, but according to America. As women, we start operating our household and treating our husband according to America and not this Bible, right? And the only way to find that narrow path is to stay in this Bible so we can see the lens through this Bible at all times. That's the only way we're gonna make it up out of here, right? Read that one more time.
Isaiah 33:6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to attack our women